Welcome to Grattan Township, a community not unlike many found in rural western Michigan, where the commerce is simple and the needs are basic. But for the engineers and technicians testing the Chevrolet ZO6 Corvette, Grattan? Well, Grattan rocks.
Well, we've just completed our first session of 24 hours. We have just a little shy of 1 hour done. And so we've come in, we're out of gas, so we'll be refueling, we'll be checking engine oil, checking brake pad wear. When we run the 24-hour test, it's not 24 hours from beginning to end on a clock. It is 24 hours on the racetrack. So we begin the clock when we're out on the track, and when we come in, we stop the clock. We'll be doing this 24 more times.
We've been doing ride height changes, shock changes. We've alignment settings. We've been playing with camber, toe. So we've been doing a lot of changes to help the car come off the turn much better. So the faster you put the power down, the faster you go down the straightaways.
There are people that do drive like this. There's the weekend warriors, and this particular car has been designed to, we basically are saying, hey, you can buy a car, you can take it right out of the factory, right out of the box, and take it out and race it. And that's what the whole thrust of this car is, and we want to prove to ourselves that it's really what we say it is.
We've had several tests that have been over 400, 405, 406, stuff like that. So based on our last rounds of tests, it looks like we may have a solid 400 horsepower, 400 foot-pound torque engine. At the end of 2 weeks here, we'll have a total of 24 hours of track testing, and I expect this powertrain to survive and perform flawlessly.
The things I like in a vehicle on the racetrack are the same kinds of things that people on the road like in a car. And if they work good for me out here on the racetrack, when I'm at the limit, chances are they're going to work really well out on the street. And that's really phenomenal.
The ZO6, 405 horsepower, 400 foot-pounds of torque, and all Corvette.
Hello, I'm Dave Hill, Corvette Chief Engineer.
And I'm Rick Baldick, Corvette Marketing Director. On behalf of everyone on the Corvette team, we would like to personally thank you for choosing the 2003 Corvette.
2003 is a very special year for automotive enthusiasts around the world as we celebrate Corvette's 50th anniversary. Throughout all 50 years, Corvette has stayed true to its mission as America's sports car. And our team wanted to make sure we marked the occasion by giving you something special to commemorate your Corvette's place in history.
This is the 50th Anniversary Edition Corvette, which is available as both coupe and convertible. The exterior features anniversary red paint, unique badges, and special color-coordinated aluminum wheels. Inside, we have a new two-tone shale interior that includes hand-stitched leather upgrades in the door pull handles and armrest pads, along with 50th anniversary embroidery on the seat backs and floor mats. Even if you didn't choose the anniversary edition, your 2003 Corvette can be easily distinguished from other model years by the 50th anniversary badges on the front bumper and the rear deck. Only 2003 model year Corvettes will ever carry these badges.
No matter which 2003 Corvette you own, coupe, convertible, or Z06, you can drive with confidence knowing that it is engineered and built to the highest standards of performance and quality. Corvette's rigorous durability testing includes 250 miles of autocross racing and 24 hours of road course testing at competition speeds. We also drive at wide open throttle at the top speed of 175 miles per hour for 1 tank of fuel.
Our team's commitment to quality has clearly paid off. We're very proud of the fact that Corvette has been named Best in Segment and J.D. Power and Associates initial quality study for premium sports cars in both the 2001 and 2002 model years. And we've actually increased our lead over the best European and Japanese sports cars in the segment. Corvette also received J.D. Power and Associates Appeal Awards for 5 years in a row.
But the award we enjoy the most is the smile on your face when you're behind the wheel.
Thank you again for choosing Corvette. We're very proud to bring it to you.
And miles of smiles in your new Corvette. In 1953, when I was 10, at the Little League ball field in Pittsford, New York, up drives the first Corvette that most anybody had ever seen. They'd just come out. The whole game stopped and all the kids ran over to check out the Corvette. From the very first Corvette, it's been a big part of my appreciation of automobiles over the years.
It's time for all Corvette owners to celebrate, not just the owners of the new ones, but whether it's a 53 or a 63 split window or some of the great cars of the 70s. Each and every model of Corvette has evoked passion and enthusiasm among its owners for 50 years. There's few cars that can do that.
Corvette's 50th anniversary is about more than great cars. It's about great people, great moments, and the anticipation of great things to come. Corvette first took life as a concept car in January 1953 at the GM Motorama in New York City. By June of that year, production Corvettes were being hand-assembled in Flint, Michigan. All 300 1953 models were polo white with red interiors. Back then, few could have dreamed what the next 50 years would hold for Corvette. 5 generations of models that have captured the heart and soul of America. Pop culture status in television, movies, and music. And triumph after triumph on the racetrack. A year-long celebration of Corvette's 50th anniversary kicked off in June of 2002 with the historic Motorama. A caravan of Corvettes, one from each model year, traced the car's historic path from Flint, Michigan, to the GM Design Center, to St. Louis, where Corvettes were built from 1953 through 1981, and then finally to Bowling Green, Kentucky, home of the Corvette Assembly Plant and the National Corvette Museum. You can find more information about 50th anniversary events at Corvette50th.com. It's the car's unique and widespread popularity that makes Corvette's 50th anniversary so meaningful. Enthusiasts embrace it. Every year, thousands attend Corvette Club meetings, rallies, and shows. More than 150,000 people annually visit the National Corvette Museum. And the Corvette Assembly Plant Tour is always a popular Kentucky tourist attraction. But America's passion for Corvette reaches far beyond its loyal fans. Even non-enthusiasts can identify classic Corvette models and have Corvette stories to share.
Corvette's appeal to the general public, even if they're not a sports car fan, is really about style and performance. When you look at the provocative designs that Corvette has had for 50 years, it's what everyone calls a head-turner.
Corvette's legacy is also one of leadership as Chevrolet's automotive design and technology flagship. Many features found on today's cars and trucks were available on Corvette first, including composite body panels, fuel injection, a 4-wheel independent suspension, 4-wheel disc brakes, anti-lock brakes, and traction control.
Today, a good example would be this magnetic selective ride that was introduced in 2003. I mean, it gives wonderful handling with really, really remarkable riding comfort.
Racing is also in Corvette's blood. Zora Arkus Duntoff, Corvette's first chief engineer, was an accomplished racer. His passion for racing and winning was a big part of Corvette's character from the very start. In 1955, driving a V8-powered Corvette, Duntoff set a new record of more than 150 miles per hour in the Daytona Flying Mile. Through the years, Corvette kept on racing and kept on winning, from the flying dentist Dick Thompson's 5 SCCA titles between 1957 and 1962, to the C5R's wins at Daytona, Le Mans, and Sebring. But when you get down to it, what makes Corvette different from any other car over the last 50 years isn't just its breakthrough designs, remarkable performance, or leading-edge technology. It's the people and their passion that have made Corvette an American icon. The people who design and build it, those who admire it, the ones who race it, and most importantly, everyone who loves to drive it. They all share a special bond that can only be described with one simple word: Corvette. Your 2003 Corvette holds a special place in history as part of the 50th anniversary celebration. Specific enhancements for the 2003 model year include the available Anniversary Edition coupe and convertible models, along with 50th anniversary badges on all other 2003 Corvettes. Inside, the front passenger seat now incorporates the latch system for securing child seats that feature built-in latch mechanisms. Please refer to your owner's manual for complete instructions and guidelines for using child safety seats. The upcoming programs on this tape review the many facets of the Corvette ownership experience, and the enclosed program guide provides an outline of the programs with time codes of where you can find specific information.
To excel on the road as well as the track. That's the essence of the ZO6 concept, a concept whose roots go back to the 1963 Stingray. That year, competition-minded buyers could order a race-ready Vette by just checking the ZO6 option box. With a laundry list of enhancements, the original ZO6 Stingray took performance to new heights, taking the checkered flag in just its first race at the Los Angeles Times 3-hour Invitational. Thus, the legend was born. And now, 40 years later, it's back, refined and retooled to make the new Corvette ZO6 one of the most exciting Corvettes ever. Incredible. We're here at a track to showcase how the Corvette ZO6 raises the standard for performance cars everywhere. This bona fide racer is guaranteed to boost your adrenaline and raise your pulse. Under the hood, you'll find the legendary LS6 engine. Now, I say legendary because the LS6 designation has been used only once before in Corvette history, on the 1971 Special Edition 454 V8, one of the most powerful production Corvette engines ever offered. The Corvette team has brought the LS6 back to pay homage to this outstanding performer and to stake its claim to its high-performance, street-legal heritage. Just a few minutes behind the wheel will convince you that the new LS6 is a worthy successor.
Well, this engine was specifically designed for the ZO6 Corvette, a real high-performance vehicle, and we wanted to make sure that the engine had the character that the vehicle was going to need. Basically, what we did when we designed this engine was focus on trying to bring the air into the engine and out as efficient as possible. So what we did is we actually revised the whole tooling of the intake, and we took the floor and dropped the floor of the plenum down and then modified the bell mouth of the runners into the cylinder head so that we could actually improve the airflow into the engine. We've also improved the combustion chamber of the engine. We increased the compression ratio from a 10.1 to 1 to a 10.5 to 1. The exhaust manifolds have also been redesigned. They're actually a thin wall cast iron manifold done primarily to improve the airflow again out of the engine, out of the exhaust port, as well as add improved durability for this high output package. One of the enablers to obtain the higher speed capability of the engine was to manage the airflow not only in and out of the engine, but also internally to the engine. The way we accomplish that with this is as the piston is actually flowing down, it actually tries to displace air. And we need to put that air someplace. And right now, as the piston flows down, what we've done is actually cast passages, slots, in the actual bulkhead of the block. And as the piston comes down, it displaces the air to adjacent cylinder bay. And therefore, we don't have that resistance, nor the air going back down to the crankcase and aerating the oil. One key feature for a high-performance engine is the camshaft and valve train. In fact, I consider the heart and soul of the engine. It really gives the character of the engine. And for this particular engine application, we went to a very high-lift cam, going from our 12.7 millimeter to a 13.3 millimeter lift. We also needed a valve spring that would handle higher speed applications. For this application, we chose, rather than our production chrome silicon spring, we went to a chrome silicon vanadium material, a high-strength steel material. We also went to an oval-shaped wire as opposed to a round wire that we historically used. With an increase in overall revving capability of the engine, we go from 6,200 RPM fuel cutoff that we had last year to a 6,600 RPM fuel cutoff. So you can make more use of that extended range. The added breathing capability of the engine is truly felt, especially at the top end. So it really makes a high-performance engine for a high-performance vehicle.
A fitting complement to the LS6 engine is a new state-of-the-art titanium exhaust system. Titanium has an extraordinary strength-to-weight ratio and is extremely temperature resistant, which is why it's found in jet engines and high-performance military aircraft. And because titanium is approximately 40% lighter than stainless steel, using it in ZO6's exhaust saves nearly 18 pounds. Titanium's anti-corrosive properties are also very good. In fact, the mufflers on your ZO6 will outlive their stainless steel counterparts. And speaking of mufflers, ZO6 includes a completely new muffler design. Large louver tubes inside the mufflers improve breathing and reduce back pressure to help the engine achieve maximum performance. The mufflers have been specially tuned to deliver a low, sporty growl that's distinctive to the ZO6. In keeping with its sporty and distinctive nature, the 6-speed manual transmission on your ZO6 is specially geared to provide more aggressive launch and acceleration through the gears. It also includes a temperature sensor to safeguard against extreme thermal stresses. The transmission is located away from the engine, back here, just ahead of the rear axle. A prop shaft runs through a structural center tunnel, connecting the transmission to the engine. To handle the high torque of the LS6 engine, the rear axle has been strengthened and the clutch redesigned. The clutch has higher clamping capabilities to smoothly transfer the higher power outputs. At the same time, it requires less pedal effort to engage, a benefit you'll appreciate on the track and in stop-and-go traffic. An interesting fact about Corvette's powertrain is that beyond just generating a lot of power, it enables the structure's tunnel configuration to literally serve as the backbone of the car, which contributes to the vehicle's excellent rigidity. And by putting the transmission in the rear, Corvette engineers were able to achieve a 51-49 front-to-rear weight distribution, a big factor in Corvette's world-class handling capabilities. Finally, the rear-mounted transmission design allows for plenty of space for driver and passenger footroom, which you'll appreciate every time you take a long trip. Corvette's great structure translates into a variety of benefits to you as a driver. It provides a comfortable ride, responsive, controlled handling, and precise steering control, whether you're racing on the track or just running around town. The structure starts with a full-length perimeter frame that acts as the foundation for the rest of the car. You can see the structural transmission tunnel running through the center. The side rails provide rigidity, but are still lightweight despite their size. That's because they're hydroformed, molded from the inside by ultra-high pressure water injection. Innovative manufacturing techniques and materials are found throughout the car. Take the floor pan. It's made of balsa wood covered by composite material. Balsa wood is very light, and when you sandwich it between high-strength composite material like this, you get a strong, lightweight, structural component that also helps absorb noise and vibration. The same commitment to advanced engineering technology that went into Corvette's body structure is also very evident in its exterior design and styling. The classic Corvette design cues are prominent, and the .31 coefficient of drag makes it one of the sleekest sports cars available. In contrast to the standard Corvette, your Z06 has functional air intakes in the front fascia with stainless steel grill inserts. The air intakes help improve airflow to the engine air inlet. In the rear, brake cooling scoops located just ahead of the rear wheels also help distinguish the Z06. The scoops direct cool air to the rear brakes to help reduce temperatures under heavy usage, a very significant benefit, especially on the racetrack. A well-designed, competent chassis is essential to ensuring that your Z06 stops, turns, and holds the road as well as it accelerates. Starting with the tires, great attention was focused on all aspects of the suspension to make sure that the Z06 was up to the challenges of the road as well as the track. The Z06 features specially designed and engineered Goodyear Eagle F1 supercar tires. To minimize tire mass, Goodyear went with a non-extended mobility design, which resulted in a weight savings of over 23 pounds. Plus, the unique tread configuration and the extra width of the tires combined to make the Z06 handle, brake, and ride like an enthusiast's dream.
The Z06 is the first Corvette that we've ever produced that is capable of producing over 1G lateral acceleration. There's a lot of things we did in the chassis that contribute to that. The most important thing, of course, is the tires. We got 4 tires on the ground with about this much contact that's all between the tire, or all between the car and the road. This is the tire that we use on the base Corvette and our current Z51 suspension. This tire is a run-flat tire. It's a directional tire. The grooves are cut from the center, swinging out. It's meant to move in a certain direction. As it goes through, it takes the water from a wet road and displaces it sideways, gets it out from underneath the foot. For the Z06, we cared about the extreme enthusiast. That guy wants to go, and he wants to go fast, and he wants to corner hard. So we needed a new tire that had even more capability than what we had in our present Corvette. We designed a tire that will have an even higher level of performance. It is an asymmetric tire instead of a directional tire. By that we mean the tread pattern is different on the outside of the tire versus on the inside of the tire. The outside of the tire is got very large elements with very small grooves. They're very stable elements, and they can generate a tremendous amount of cornering power. The inside elements are there to give us still some rain performance, not as much rain performance as we had with the current F1 GS tire, but still some rain performance. Very large grooves, they get the water out.
The wheels on the Z06 are special too. In fact, they're the most mass-efficient aluminum wheels ever produced for Corvette. Plus, they look great. The light gray complexion contrasts perfectly with the torch red brake calipers, a signature look for your Z06. Complementing these high-performance wheels and tires, the Z06 exclusive FE4 four-wheel independent suspension features a short and long arm, or SLA, design at all 4 corners. SLA is also known as a double wishbone due to the V-like shape of the upper and lower control arms. In contrast to the standard Corvette suspension, the FE4 has received several enhancements to better handle the aggressive high-speed maneuvers you'll encounter on the track.
To get the most from the tires, we developed a specific suspension for the Z06. The first thing we did was increase the static negative camber alignment, both in the front and in the rear. We added camber by -0.5 degree, both front and rear. The next thing we did was try to keep the body from rolling as much. We increased the front roll bar stiffness, and we also went to the rear and increased the rear spring stiffness. Both of those things keep the body flatter. That keeps the tire flatter. That generates more cornering power. The rear spring has another benefit by keeping the back of the car from squatting down as much when you're accelerating. That helps put more power to the ground by keeping the back of the car off of the jounce bumper. In addition, we shortened the jounce bumper for the same reason. The final thing we did for the Z06 suspension is valved a specific shock valving. It has tighter, lower speed body control. That gives us more control during quick transitions through slaloms and chicanes.
Helping you maintain the ultimate control as a driver is Corvette's standard active handling system.
In simple terms, active handling helps correct the difference between the driver's intended direction for the car during a turn and the actual direction. Its benefits are most noticeable during slippery road conditions or performance handling situations. It's truly the next step in the evolution of Corvette's ABS and traction control. Now, to measure the driver's intended cornering direction, the system incorporates a steering wheel angle sensor, individual wheel sensors, an accelerator pedal sensor, a brake switch, and a master cylinder pressure sensor. It uses this information to determine the driver's desired yaw rate and speed. Yaw rate is simply the speed at which the car turns or rotates as it corners. The system also measures the car's actual yaw rate and lateral acceleration using two new and specific transducers, an accelerometer and a yaw rate sensor. The active handling system activates when there's a significant enough difference between how the driver intends for the car to corner and how it is actually cornering. It automatically applies any of the vehicle's 4 brakes to assist in correcting the situation. Now here's an animation developed by our engineering team to help show the performance of active handling. It simulates an aggressive lane change maneuver on a wet surface. The white car is equipped with active handling, and the blue car is not. As the car enters the maneuver, the driver applies more steering input than the car can react to. The car starts to push or understeer. The active handling system senses this and applies the inside rear brake, helping to pull the car into the corner. Once the car is in the left lane, the driver tries to straighten it out, but the yaw inertia of the car causes it to turn more than the driver wanted. Active handling reacts to this oversteer condition by applying the outside front wheel brake. The resulting torque helps keep the rear end of the car from getting too loose. As the driver returns to the right lane, a similar sequence of events unfolds, worsened by the whipping action of the maneuver. The active handling system assists the driver in maintaining control by applying the brakes appropriately. This affords the driver a greater level of control, as well as gradually slowing the car to a more manageable speed. The overall effectiveness of the Corvette active handling system, or any similar system, is directly related to the available tire traction and the aggressiveness of the given maneuver. Active handling is designed to better utilize available traction to assist the driver, but it cannot overcome the laws of physics. The active handling system reacts only in extreme situations, so special care should be taken when the system does activate, because that's a clear signal that the vehicle or tire limits are being exceeded. Now, in most situations, the system will help the driver maintain control without being intrusive. Corvette's active handling is also the first system of this type to offer a dual mode operation. You can select the competitive driving mode for autocross or gymkhana competition. The competitive mode maintains the individual wheel braking of active handling, but it disables traction control. Our testing indicates that the lap times of typical Corvette drivers will likely improve with this new system, especially if the driver is just learning the course.
Just like the suspension system, Corvette's MagnaSteer variable effort steering system is designed to perform well through a variety of driving situations. It provides easier turning effort at low speeds, like in parking lots, and firmer steering feel at highway speeds. Corvette's interior serves a dual role, emphasizing driver control while providing exceptional comfort. The bucket seats have lateral support, back angle adjustments, and a 6-way power driver's seat adjuster. Now, there are times when you may notice a little play in the seat back. That's perfectly normal. The seat is designed that way to prevent damage that may be caused by moving the seat rearward when it's fully reclined. Now, the best way to recline your seat is to first move it to your preferred distance from the foot pedals, then lean forward, taking most of your weight off the seat back, lift the lever to recline the seat, release the lever, and then sit back. Once you're in the proper driving position, Corvette's head-up display feature helps you keep track of critical display functions without taking your eyes off the road.
The head-up display system takes the display information, puts it through an optical system, and projects it up onto your windshield. It's taken from aircraft technology that's been around for a number of years. The Corvette head-up display was designed to be able to accommodate mostly the performance driver. It allows the driver now to be able to see their tach, gauges, and other information that other head-up displays don't provide. There are 4 key components to your head-up display. The head-up display itself, the windshield, which contains a scientifically adjusted anti-lacerative layer which provides a nice crisp image to the driver, the instrument cluster, which provides the data to the HUD to keep it accurate, and the switches, which are located here on the left side of the instrument cluster. The top switch, or the page switch, allows the driver to be able to add and subtract format to their preference. The dimmer switch allows the driver to be able to adjust their image to a brightness level which they're comfortable. And the display switch allows the driver to be able to adjust the image and center it within their seated height. Some of the key things to remember when using your head-up display are to be able to keep your brightness down to the lowest level possible where you're still comfortable driving and you can still see the image. One of the other things is to try to keep your content down. For instance, if you're driving in the city, you may not want to have all your information up. You may want to limit it to just your speed. If you are driving under a high-pressure situation during a race, for instance, you may want to have your tach and your gauge information showing. There's really no special care required for your head-up display. If you do need to clean the lens, just use a piece of cloth and some household glass cleaner and go ahead and wipe the lens. Be very careful, though, not to press too hard.
In addition to finding ways to improve the performance of your Z06, Corvette engineers looked for ways to reduce its mass.
We based the Z06 on the hard-top body style because it is the lightest and stiffest of the Corvette models. For the Z06, we looked to expand that advantage by taking additional mass out of the car. The reason for that is the power-to-weight ratio is a large determiner of racetrack performance, also on the drag strip. But in addition to just that, taking weight out of the car helps the other elements of track performance: braking, absolute cornering, and also transients, where you're changing from one direction to another. Having a lighter car enables that performance. We looked all around the car to make mass reductions wherever we could. The non-EMT tires take out a significant amount of mass. The first mass production titanium exhaust system takes out another large amount of mass. And then we looked all around the cars for small mass changes, like thinning up the glass a little bit in the back. The windshield is a little thinner than the other Corvette models, and even the battery is a new technology to help take weight off the front end of the car. All taken together, this car weighs about 117 pounds lighter than the typical convertible or coupe. With the power you've heard about and the reduced mass, this Z06 will be a force to be reckoned with amongst high-performance sports cars.
I hope you've enjoyed this brief overview of your new Z06 Corvette. In the upcoming segments of this tape, you'll learn a lot more about key features and operations. You'll learn how to set your Z06 up for competitive racing and how to maximize its performance on the track. Whether you drive in competitive events or just around town, you'll see that Corvette is designed to give you the best possible driving experience. Enjoy the rest of the program, and thanks for watching.
The Corvette doesn't require any special break-in period above and beyond what you would do for any new car. Basically what that means is for the first 500 miles you want to take it easy. That means limiting wide open throttle accelerations. When launching the car from rest, you want to take it easy in either a manual or an automatic. And you want to try to keep the car seeing a variety of speeds during the course of that 500 miles. Try not to have the engine running at 1 RPM or 1 steady state speed for an extended period during that time. The reason for that is that the mechanical parts are seating together. They're meshing together for the first time, and they're wearing together to create a smooth running machine. If you put a lot of energy into the car, either through heavy braking or high intensity accelerations, you could create some wear patterns that would result in either noise or the car may not be as smooth as it could have been. For brakes, this especially important part is the first 200 miles. You want to make sure that you leave enough room in traffic, that you never have to get into a panic stop situation, that for those first 200 miles you can brake moderately at all times. It is true that the Corvette air dam is quite low to the ground. The reason it's there is aerodynamics. All the Corvette models need to have extremely good aerodynamics. Now, sports cars are not naturally aerodynamic. They tend to be wide and low, they tend to have big tires, they have large engines that need a lot of air for cooling. So aerodynamic achievement is very difficult on a sports car, yet it is absolutely essential for the Corvette so that we can have the astonishing acceleration performance and powertrain performance coupled with surprisingly good fuel economy and no gas guzzler tax. One of the ways we achieved that aerodynamic performance was to bring this air dam or valence down close to the ground. It sits about 4 or 5 inches above the ground, and so it can make contact on large road obstacles such as large speed bumps or steep driveway ramps. It's designed to accommodate those kinds of obstacles. It consists of 3 pieces, 2 outboard sections that are made of a tough, flexible plastic, and a center section that also flexes quite a long way and can spring back into position. In spite of the robust design of the air dam, the best advice I can give is to follow the instructions in the owner's manual. Namely, use caution when approaching obstacles in the road. Large speed bumps, curbs, steep driveway ramps should all be approached with caution. The best idea is to get the car slowed down before you get to the obstacle. The reason is you don't want to be braking as you make contact with the obstacle, because the braking actually pushes the nose of the car down and makes the air dam even lower than it already is. So following those directions, you may hear some noise in the car when the air dam makes contact with those obstacles, but it will flex out of the way and will continue to perform its important aerodynamic and engine cooling functions. Some customers have asked about a mechanical buzz or rattle noise coming from underneath the car. It sounds like this. This noise is not an indication of a problem. It's a characteristic noise inherent in the driveline configuration of the Corvette. With a high output V8 engine in the front and a high capacity rear mounted transmission, that noise is simply inherent characteristic of that driveline design. The Corvette's driveline has been designed to be as powerful, lightweight, and simple as possible, and therefore as reliable as we can possibly make it. Another question we get from manual transmission customers concerns the skip shift feature. This system guides the shift lever from first to fourth under light-duty conditions and has been on Corvettes since the 6-speed manual transmission was introduced in 1989. Its purpose is to enable the best possible fuel economy in city driving while offering the maximum performance when demanded. The fuel efficiency of many high-performance sports cars causes their buyers to pay substantial gas guzzler taxes. We have tried to make the skip shift feature as unintrusive as possible to give you the best fuel efficiency around town. Your owner's manual gives more details on the exact conditions under which the skip shift will operate. Skip shift is just another way we have designed your Corvette to achieve astonishing performance and fuel economy and avoid this tax penalty. I'd like to make sure there's no confusion on the proper operation of the Corvette's optional electronic HVAC control. You will see the AC light come on whenever the air conditioning compressor is engaged. This can cause confusion when you select the defrost mode, especially when it's cold out. Most of the time, the AC light will come on even when you have the temperature set to warm up the car. This is because the compressor engages to take the moisture out of the air. This makes the defroster function much more effectively and will not slow down how quickly the car warms up.
When I get into a Corvette to take a drive, what I like to do first is get myself in the right position for operation of the pedals and the steering wheel. It's most important that when you're pushing on the brake pedal that you have your knee bent. In order to get in the position so that you have a bent knee when you're braking, I like to reach to the floor pan, and if I can get my toes to the floor pan comfortably, then I'm close enough to the brake pedal. In this case, I'm too far away, so I move myself up to where my toes are comfortably on the floor pan. That way, when I'm pushing on the brake pedal, I'll have a bent leg and I can get good leverage on the brake pedal in case I need it for an emergency stop. The second most important thing is to have good control of the steering wheel. I like to be in a position where I can comfortably lay my hand over the steering wheel so that when I'm steering, I've got good leverage on the steering wheel. In this case, I'm too far away, so I'll bring the back up just a bit so that I can get nice, comfortable reach on the steering wheel. Most of maintaining the proper seating position is designed into the seat and the controls, but the seat belt is also part of the overall seating position in the Corvette. The seat belt buckle moves with the seat, so that it's always in the right position to buckle up the seat belt and give you the most control. Then if you're driving the Corvette in a more sporting manner to get additional control, you can use what we call the cinch feature. Pull the seat belt out all the way and allow it to ratchet back in, and that locks it in position to really hold you well in the seat. The ZO6 Corvette is a very high-performance sports car, so if you're going to take it out on the track, there's a few things you need to keep in mind. Let's go for a ride and we'll talk about it. Probably the most important thing to remember when driving a really high-performance car like the ZO6, a car with this much power, powerful brakes, very sticky tires, is being absolutely smooth. Smooth when getting on the brakes, smooth when applying the power, because there is so much power that you can easily spin the rear tires when you go to wide open throttle, so everything needs to be done smoothly. Even down at the end of the straightaway coming into the turn, don't really stand on the brakes. Apply the brakes smoothly and take them up to full power gradually. Let off them smoothly. When you do it that way, the transition into the turn will be a lot smoother. Do nice, smooth heel and toe downshifts. You'll find that most of the time when going through transitions like this, that you won't need to use all of the track because the cars will be going so fast that you don't have time to get back over to the other part of the track, like this section right here. You could actually hear the rear tires spin just a little bit going over the hill. So whenever you're on an over-the-hill turn like this, be very careful about going to wide open throttle, because as the rear end gets light, the tires will start spinning. Brake very smoothly, turn in, apply the power very smoothly. Was that fun or what?
When setting the ZO6 suspension up for racing, the first and most important thing you need to do is add an extra quart of engine oil. The reason why adding that quart of oil is important, and we mention it in the owner's manual, is because when you're cornering very hard, very high limits that the ZO6 is capable of, that oil gets slung to the outside of the engine up in the valve cover, and it doesn't drain back. Nothing can drain back because of that 1G acceleration. So we protect the engine by asking the customer in those types of environments, racing, whether it's autocrossing or on the track, to add an extra quart of oil, and that'll protect the engine. The second thing that you need to do, in the front suspension, you can make a camber alignment adjustment, add more negative camber. Negative camber means taking the top of the tire and tilting it in. What that does is takes the foot of the tire on the outside tire and make it more square when the car is cornering and rolled over in a corner. We are able to adjust that camber in a couple different ways. We can make an adjustment at the upper control arm by removing some shims where the control arm attaches to the frame rail. That sucks the top of the tire into the body. Then you can go to the bottom. The lower control arm is attached to the cradle with a cam bolt, and you can adjust that out, moving the lower control arm out, taking the bottom of the tire and tipping it out. If you make those adjustments on both sides, you should be able to achieve between -1.5 degrees negative camber to -2.5 degrees camber, and you should find somewhere in that range suitable for most track events. The next thing that you need to do is go ahead and lower the car. You can make adjustments in lowering the car where our composite leaf spring attaches or sets on our lower front control arms with a little pogo stick. That pogo stick is threaded, and you can lift the spring up off the control arm, thread it in, and drop the bottom of the car. You need to be very careful how much you lower the front of the car, because if you lower it too much, you end up setting on the jounce bumper. The jounce bumper adds spring rate to the front suspension, If you take the front suspension roll stiffness up too high by having a very high spring rate, you'll disturb the balance of the car and the car will understeer and you won't be able to fix that. So you can lower the car, but you don't want to lower it too much. You want to lower in the range of about 10 to 15 millimeters below our nominal spec. When you lower the front suspension, you want to be careful to lower it by the same amount on both sides. If you lower it more on one side than the other, then you can produce a wedge that will give the car an understeer effect in one direction and an oversteer effect in the other direction. So it's important that you lower it by the same amount, and it's important that you don't lower it too much. In the back of the car, you want to do exactly the same thing. You would like to increase the negative camber of the car to generate more carrying power. You do that by taking the top of the tire, tilting it in. We have no adjustment for the upper control arm like we do in the front. So you have to go to the lower control arm. We have a cam bolt adjustment similar to what we have in the front, and you adjust that so that the lower control arm moves out. That gives us the negative camber. You want to maximize it and make sure that you have the same amount on both sides. You'll be in the range of -3/4 degree to -1 degree camber. You can further increase the camber by lowering the back of the car because you get up on the camber curve. But you want to be careful, just like in the front, to not lower the car too much, around 10 to 15 millimeters. If you lower it too much, you'll contact the jounce bumper. That'll disturb the balance of the car. You'll oversteer. Also, when you lower the car, you want to make sure that, just like in the front, you lower it by the same amount so that you don't produce a wedge, as I spoke of earlier.
GM Racing has worked with Corvette Production Engineering to develop heavy-duty parts for the Corvette to compete with. We offer a suspension kit that improves the handling of the car. The suspension kit includes front and rear anti-roll bars that have a higher roll rate to improve the handling of the car, as well as higher rate front and rear springs. Also, we have front, upper, and lower control arms that have higher durometer bushings to improve the handling and durability of those components. Also included in the kit are adjustable steel drop links that are used to adjust out any preload in the suspension. Along with that, we have specially tuned Sachs production shocks that match the tuning of the suspension kit to work with racing tires on the car. We also offer a manual transmission oil cooler kit to improve the durability of that part under the strains of competition. For the ultimate braking performance on your Corvette, we also offer street track pads, front brake pads. These pads were specially tuned and chosen for the Corvette to get the most out of your car. They are meant more for the racetrack than they are for the street because they do give off slightly more dust and slightly more noise than the pad that comes stock on your car. The Corvette has a long and successful heritage in racing. To help continue that heritage, we are offering these heavy-duty parts through the GM Performance Parts catalog. If you're interested in these parts or how they're used or applied, you can get more information from the GM Goodwrench website, which is gmgoodwrench.com, or the GM Performance Parts website, which is spoperformanceparts.com. You can send them an email and they'll reply back to you with the information that you're requesting.
Sitting in the driver's seat of your new Corvette can be an exhilarating experience. With a powerful V8 engine and long hood line in front and the high-tech cockpit-style interior surrounding you. There's an entire array of instruments, gauges, and switches that fall within your reach. While it's definitely exciting, it can also seem a little overwhelming at first glance. That's why in this segment, we'll show you how to operate all of these controls to help you feel more comfortable when you're driving Corvette. All Corvettes are equipped with a standard remote keyless entry system. Press the unlock button once to unlock the driver's door and twice to unlock both doors. Pressing the lock button once locks both doors. Your key fob also has a remote release for the rear lift glass on coupes or the trunk if you own a convertible or ZO6. Finally, the system features a button you can push to trigger the alarm in the event of an emergency. You should also note that there is no longer a lock cylinder on the passenger's door. Your key can still be used to unlock and lock the car from the driver's door. Once you're inside your new Corvette, you'll see that the cockpit is ergonomically designed for easy use. The layout allows you to check gauges at a glance, and the controls are within close reach. On the driver's door panel, you'll see the power window and door lock controls and outside rear-view mirror adjusters. The express down window feature is activated with a quick tap of the auto button. If your Corvette is equipped with the memory option, the controls are located on the driver's door as well. The memory feature will store and recall settings for the driver's seat, outside rear-view mirrors, and the audio system, so different drivers can quickly adjust the settings to where they want them. The very first time you program the memory feature, you'll need to quickly tap the correct button to identify yourself. Following that step, and for all future reprogramming, simply adjust the driver's seat and outside mirrors to where you'd like, and press and hold your memory button. Program your audio presets after you've completed the first 3 steps. Any future audio changes that you make while driving will be stored automatically. You can use Memory 1, Memory 2, or both 1 and 2 together to program settings for up to 3 different drivers. The light above the selected button will glow steady for 1 second and then flash once the settings are programmed. To recall your settings after someone else has driven the vehicle, either remotely unlock the car with your key fob or simply press your memory button. The light above the button will flash until the correct settings are achieved. It will light solidly for a few seconds once the necessary adjustments are complete. It's important to note that if you drive away before your memory settings are completely recalled, the full adjustments may not occur due to a safety feature that prevents changes while the vehicle is in motion. The turn indicator, cruise control, and headlamp controls are on this stock within easy reach of your left hand. You will hear this chime if you left the turn indicator on for more than 3/4 of a mile. This lever allows you to adjust the position of the steering column. Pull the lever toward you, adjust the steering wheel up or down, and then release the lever to lock it in place. The remote hatch release button is located below and to the left of the steering column. The control buttons for the available head-up display feature are located here, to the upper left of the steering wheel. To adjust the display, hold down the page button for a moment to scroll through the various combinations of speed, gauges, and tachometer. This switch allows you to adjust the height of the projection. The dimmer switch adjusts the brightness. However, the system does have a light-sensitive automatic adjuster to help minimize the use of the dimmer for hands-free operation. Also, polarized sunglasses may interfere with your ability to see the head-up display. The instrument panel gauges, including engine coolant temperature, oil pressure, tachometer, speedometer, voltmeter, and fuel, are easy to read at a glance. An airbag deactivation switch allows you to disable the front passenger airbag when carrying a child in a rear-facing child restraint. See the owner's manual for more safety information. The Driver Information Center, or DIC display, is located at the base of the instrument cluster. The DIC control buttons are to the right. We'll cover using and programming the DIC in the next segment. Some of the controls that you'll probably operate the most are the ones on your sound system. It includes several features that make it easy for you to enjoy. To set the clock, first press and hold the hour button and then the minute button until the correct time appears. Your Corvette audio system is equipped with Speed Compensated Volume, or SCV, which will automatically adjust the volume to compensate for increasing road and wind noise as you drive. Simply set the volume knob where you want it, then adjust the outer ring. Each notch on the control ring allows for more volume compensation. If you don't want SCV, move the ring all the way down. You can use Tune or Seek to adjust the radio stations. If you hold the Seek button in for 2 seconds, you'll see the word Scan appear on the audio display. The radio will then scan through all of the available stations, stopping at each one for a few seconds. Press Seek again to stop scanning. The numbered push buttons allow you to set your favorite stations. Simply tune in a station, and if you prefer, select an auto tone setting to best suit the programming like this. Then press and hold one of the numbers until you hear the sound mute. The station is then programmed. your stereo will accommodate 6 AM and 12 FM presets between FM 1 and 2. Use the P-Scan button to scan your pre-selected stations. See your owner's manual for detailed information on the features and operation of your Corvette's standard CD player. Your new Corvette features retained accessory power. With this system, your stereo and power windows will continue to work for up to 15 minutes after the ignition is turned off and the doors remain closed. If a door is opened, the power will be turned off. The climate controls are located below the audio system. Refer to your owner's manual for a complete description of the features and operation of the electronic dual-zone climate controls. With the electronic climate control system, you may notice times in colder weather when the air conditioning light comes on, even though you have selected the defrost mode. This is because the compressor engages to help take moisture out of the air. It will not slow down how quickly the interior of the car warms up. Your Corvette is equipped with a standard active handling system. The control switch is located on the console near the shifter. Each time you start the car, active handling is automatically engaged. If you wish to turn off active handling and traction control, press the button momentarily. The mode change will be displayed on the Driver Information Center. Press the button momentarily again to turn the systems back on. You can enter the active handling competitive driving mode at any speed. Press and hold the active handling control button for more than 5 seconds. The DIC will confirm the mode change to competitive. To exit the competitive mode, press the active handling button momentarily. There's also a cup holder, ashtray, cigarette lighter, and a lockable storage compartment for tapes, CDs, sunglasses, or other personal items. Inside the storage compartment, you'll find the fuel filler door release and an auxiliary power outlet for cellular phones or other electronic accessories. There's also an indentation in the front of the console for the power wire, in case you need to close the cover. By now, you're probably feeling more comfortable with the layout of the cockpit. As you can tell, the interior is designed to be easy to use. That's so you can focus on taking your Corvette driving experience to the next level.
When we designed the cockpit controls in the Corvette, we designed them so that the things that you needed the most, that were most important for maintaining safety as well as security and control of the Corvette, were right at your fingertips. Wiper controls can be operated without taking your hands off the steering wheel. The turn signals can be operated without taking your hands from the steering wheel. Flash to pass or bright and dimming the headlights can be done all with your hands right on the steering wheel. It's extremely important that the outside rearview mirrors be adjusted properly, in particular to pick up the blind spots, especially for when entering a freeway or changing lanes on a freeway. When you adjust the mirrors, if you adjust them in so that you can just barely see the side of the car and then adjust them a little bit further outboard so that you can't see the side of the car, that should be a very good starting point to be able to see cars that are in your blind spot. The instrumentation and the Driver Information Center are all set up so that just a quick glance from the road can give you all the information you need for the Corvette. One of the most important aspects of maintaining the Corvette's performance is the tire pressures. The proper cold pressure is 30 psi, and when fully warmed up, 33 to 34 psi is the best pressure for maintaining the performance of the Corvette.
Over the years, Corvette has earned international acclaim for offering modern and innovative technology. Now, some people may assume that its high-tech components are all strictly performance-related. But one of Corvette's most cutting-edge features isn't under the hood, part of the suspension package, or in the body structure. In fact, it's in your instrument panel. The Driver Information Center, or DIC, is one of the most important features of your new Corvette. It displays information about how your vehicle is functioning and alerts you if there's a system problem. It also allows you to program features that make it easier for you to use and enjoy your Corvette every day. In this segment, we'll cover some of the DIC programming steps that you'll use the most, starting with the fuel button. It displays average overall fuel economy. Press it again to see instantaneous fuel economy calculated for your specific driving conditions, and again for range, which is the remaining distance you can drive without refueling. If the range is less than 30 miles, the display will read range low. The Gauges button steps through a variety of information each time you press it. Oil pressure, oil temperature, coolant temperature, transmission fluid temperature, and battery voltage. The Trip button also scrolls through several functions. It offers 2 trip odometers and a stopwatch function. It will also calculate your average speed. See your owner's manual for more details. The Trip button will also display an estimate of the engine oil's remaining usefulness. When the remaining oil life is low, the system will alert you with a Change Oil Soon message. When the oil life is down to 0, you will receive this message, Change Oil Now. When you see this, it's important that you change your oil as soon as possible. Following the oil change, you will need to reset the oil life reminder. Here's how. Press the Trip button so that the oil life percentage is displayed. Press Reset and hold it for 2 seconds. The word Reset will appear. Then, Oil Life 99%. You must reset the oil life monitor yourself after each oil change. It will not reset itself. The DIC Options button allows you to set functions like the alarm, door locks, and seat settings that you prefer. Your Corvette is equipped with a standard anti-theft alarm. The alarm activates automatically every time you leave the car and lock the doors using the lock button on the key fob, or if you press the power door lock button while the door is open when you're exiting the vehicle. Now you can choose how you'd like your Corvette to alert you that the alarm system is active. Press the Reset button to scroll through the available options for this feature. If you choose Lock and Arm Off, your vehicle will not alert you that the alarm has been set. However, your alarm system is still active. Once you have the setting you prefer, press the Options button again to store the setting and move to the next category. The Alarm category in the Options menu allows you to choose how your theft deterrent system will react if someone does try to break in. You can program it to activate the horn or both the horn and the lights. When you select the Approach Lights On function, the fog lamps, front turn signal, rear backup, and courtesy lamps will come on as you unlock the car with your remote. This function is designed to help you feel more secure when returning to the vehicle at night or in dark parking garages. Auto Lock allows you to set your Corvette to automatically lock the doors when vehicle speed reaches 10 miles per hour on manual transmission cars, or when you shift into drive with an automatic transmission. Auto Unlock will unlock the doors when the key is removed from the ignition. The Seat Easy Entry function makes it easy for you to enter and exit the vehicle by automatically moving the seat forward when the key is inserted into the ignition or back when the key is removed. The Language function allows you to choose whether you'd like your DIC display in English, French, German, or Spanish. The last item we'll cover on the DIC is the English Metric button. This will automatically adjust all the digital readouts and the speedometer to the measurement scale of your choice. You'll notice that the speedometer has only one set of numbers. The needle will indicate the appropriate speed based on your selection. As you can tell by now, the DIC is an integral part of the Corvette experience, just as much as the powertrain and the body structure. From alerting you to a tire pressure loss to customizing your alarm system, the DIC makes it easy for you to drive your Corvette every day. It's technology that makes sense.
For most competitive driving situations, the classical 9 and 3 or 10 and 2 positions on the steering wheel are really the best. The responsiveness of the steering on the Corvette is so good that even the tightest turns through the slaloms on a gymkhana or an autocross or on a racetrack can be negotiated without needing to take your hands from those positions. And on the open road, that really works best too, because you still have the availability to use the controls at the tips of your fingers with your hands in those positions. A good tip for the manual transmission is to remember that the shifter in neutral gate always centers itself in the 3-4 position. That way, when you're completing a shift and don't want to take your eyes from the road, if you use a light touch on the shifter, you can feel it go into that center position. You always know where you are without having to take your eyes off the road. When braking at the end of a straightaway before entering the turn, unless you're really proficient at heel and toe downshifting, it's best to do your braking first and then do the downshift just before entering the turn to avoid changing the balance of the car. The brakes on the Corvette are really so good that you don't need the additional braking of the engine. After completing a shift, it's best to move your left foot over to the dead pedal. That way you can use your left leg to brace yourself during cornering maneuvers and really hold yourself tightly in the seat to give you the best control. Only move your foot back to the clutch when you need to do another shift.
Keeping your new Corvette looking good and running well is one of the great joys of Corvette ownership. In this segment, we'll talk about steps you can take to help keep your Corvette looking and driving like it's fresh off the showroom floor. We'll start with proper maintenance under the hood. Corvette's engine compartment is laid out for easy access to important components: the battery, coolant surge tank and reservoir, engine oil dipstick, engine oil fill cap, air cleaner, power steering fluid reservoir, brake fluid reservoir, hydraulic clutch fluid reservoir if equipped, and windshield washer fluid are all within easy reach. Your Corvette's 5.7-liter LS1 or LS6 V8 engine requires oil meeting a special GM oil standard. If you use oils that don't meet this standard, you can cause engine damage not covered by your warranty. General Motors recommends using SAE 5W30 weight motor oil. Under normal operating conditions, you'll only need to change your Corvette's oil every 15,000 miles, or 1 year maximum, and that's just one of Corvette's long-life maintenance items. Corvette's platinum tip spark plugs are designed to last 5 years or 100,000 miles, whichever comes first. The cooling system in your Corvette is filled with long-life DexCool engine coolant. This coolant is designed to remain in your vehicle for 5 years or 150,000 miles, whichever comes first. When you add coolant, use only a 50-50 mixture of clean water and DexCool. If you use another type of coolant, you could cause premature engine, heater core, or radiator corrosion. In addition, the engine coolant will require changing sooner. Another important maintenance item for you to check regularly is tire pressure. When the vehicle is stopped, use a high-quality pocket gauge to check the pressure once a month. It is important to regularly check tire pressure because, as you can see from this example, you might not be able to tell if your tires are properly inflated simply by looking at them. In the case of tire punctures, your ZO6 comes with a GM tire inflator kit located in the back in the bootleg pocket. The kit includes a squeeze bottle filled with a non-flammable latex compound, a nozzle that attaches to the tire valve, and a mini air compressor with a 12-volt adapter. The latex sealant has a shelf life of about 3 years, so you'll need to replace it at that time to make sure it's fresh when you need it. To inflate the tire, just follow the directions on the kit. Squeeze the contents of the bottle into the tire. Use the compressor to inflate the tire to 26 psi. Then, drive the car for about 10 minutes to cure the latex and seal the leak. After 10 minutes, stop and check the tire for leaks. If none are found, inflate the tire to 30 psi, the recommended pressure. Keep in mind that this is just a temporary fix. You'll want to get the tire repaired by a service center as soon as you can. Until then, speeds up to 50 miles per hour are acceptable. These are several of the most important routine maintenance procedures that will keep your Corvette in top operating condition. Be sure to consult your owner's manual for complete maintenance schedules. It's also recommended that you go to your Chevrolet dealer for all of your service needs. You'll get genuine GM parts and GM trained and supported service people. Your Corvette dealer knows your vehicle best. A big part of the fun of owning a Corvette is keeping it looking sharp. After all, what beats cruising around town in a sleek, gleaming Corvette? The best way to preserve your Corvette's showroom shine is to keep it clean, washing it often with lukewarm or cold water. It's best to wash it in a shady area, away from the bright rays of the sun. Use only mild detergent soap. Don't use abrasive or petroleum-based detergents that can damage your car's paint finish. If you plan on using an automatic car wash, be sure to speak with the manager first. Some conveyor systems may not have enough clearance for the Corvette's undercarriage or its wide rear tires. This can damage your car. The paint finish on your Corvette is base coat clear coat. With this process, a layer of clear paint is applied over the color coat to help lock in the vibrant hues. Always use non-abrasive waxes and polishes that are made for this type of finish, and apply and remove waxes with a light touch. Machine compounding or aggressive polishing on a base coat clear coat paint finish may dull the shine or leave swirl marks. Keep your Corvette's aluminum wheels clean using a soft cloth with mild soap and water. The surface of the wheels is similar to the painted surface of your vehicle. Avoid abrasive polishes or brushes because these may damage it. Clean your tires with a stiff brush and a tire cleaner. When applying a tire dressing, always take care to wipe off any overspray or splash that falls on painted surfaces or the wheels, as it may damage the finish. For more information on Corvette car care tips, refer to your owner's manual, or visit your Chevrolet dealer to choose from a full line of GM car care products. There's a lot of pride and effort that goes into keeping your Corvette looking its best. Most of your fellow Corvette owners feel the same way. That's why many of you choose to store your cars during the winter weather, rather than expose them to the harsh elements. Chevrolet doesn't make a recommendation on whether you should store your vehicle or not. Obviously, that's your decision. But there are a few steps you should follow if you do opt for long-term storage. First, choose an insulated garage with concrete floors for storage. To help keep the battery from running down, you can either disconnect the negative cable or attach a trickle charger. An automatic trickle charger, like this one available through the Corvette Museum, adds a small charge to the battery whenever it's needed. A red light indicates it's charging. A green light means it's at full charge. Starting the vehicle once a month to charge up the battery is not recommended. Running the engine at idle for a short period of time doesn't recharge the battery completely. It has to run at higher RPMs for a longer period of time. Prior to storing your Vette, you'll also want to change your oil. Oil tends to develop acids as you drive. Changing it removes them from the system. Applying a fresh coat of wax will help protect the finish during storage. And storing your vehicle with a full tank of gas will help minimize the chance of condensation forming in the fuel tanks. Finally, protect your Corvette with a car cover. When taking your Corvette out of storage, be sure to check the oil and fluid levels and replenish them if necessary. Check the vehicle for evidence of leaks and nesting creatures, and inflate your tires to the recommended PSI. When reconnecting the battery, lightly wire brush any oxidation from the battery terminal and post before reattaching the negative cable. These are just a few of the most common storage tips. For more specific information on long-term storage for your area's environmental conditions, consult with your Chevrolet service technician. From routine maintenance to cleaning, keeping your Corvette in the best possible condition now will help ensure that you'll still be enjoying it for years.
For more information about the Corvette apparel seen in this video, along with other officially licensed products, please call toll-free 1-888-882-5303 or log on to www.corvette50thstore.com. For additional information, check out these resources, which are endorsed by Chevrolet. The National Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky was established to celebrate Corvette's legacy and to preserve its past, present, and future. By becoming a museum member, you help support that mission. You can find information about the museum, Corvette events, and vehicles at the museum website, www.corvettemuseum.com. For those interested in learning the high-performance driving skills race car drivers use with their Corvettes, Chevrolet features championship racer Justin Bell operates the Justin Bell GT Driving School in West Palm Beach, Florida. For info, call toll-free 877-468-3666 or visit the website at www.justinbell.com.